I stand in the center of a courtroom that smells like old wood and broken promises, watching my husband's lawyer shuffle papers with the kind of confidence that comes from never having lost anything that mattered. Daniel sits beside him, perfectly composed in his charcoal suit, the one I bought him 3 years ago when his startup was still just a dream scribbled on napkins at our kitchen table. He doesn't look at me. He hasn't looked at me in months. Not since he moved into that downtown loft with marble countertops and floor-to-ceiling windows that overlook a city I helped him conquer. Your Honor, his lawyer begins, voice smooth as silk over steel. My client has been exceptionally generous throughout this marriage. Mrs. Chen contributed nothing to the household income for the past 4 years. She has no career, no assets of her own, and frankly, no claim to the empire my client built from the ground up. He pauses, letting the words settle like dust. She's not entitled to anything. The gallery behind me is silent. I can feel eyes on my back. Daniel's parents, his business partners, the journalist from Tech Weekly who somehow got wind of this hearing. I'm wearing a simple navy dress, no jewelry except my wedding ring, which suddenly feels like a shackle made of lies. The judge, a woman in her 60s with silver hair pulled into a severe bun, looks down at me over her reading glasses. I wonder what she sees. A housewife, a leech, a woman who gave up everything and got nothing in return. Daniel finally glances my way, and there's something in his eyes I've never seen before. Not anger, not even guilt, just emptiness. Like I'm a stranger he once passed on the street and barely remembers. She stayed home by choice, he says, his voice carrying across the courtroom with practiced ease. I never asked her to quit her job. That was her decision. My throat tightens. 4 years ago, I was a senior software engineer at Meridian Tech, pulling 6 figures and leading a team of 12. Then Daniel's company, Apex Solutions, started hemorrhaging money. Investors were pulling out. The board wanted his head. He came home one night, collapsed on our couch, and said, "I can't do this alone." So I didn't let him. I left Meridian. I dove into Apex's broken code, spent 18-hour days debugging their infrastructure, rewrote their entire back-end architecture while Daniel charmed investors and played CEO. I never took a salary. He said we'd split everything once the company stabilized. He said we were partners. Mrs. Chen, the judge says, her voice cutting through my memories, "Do you have representation?" "No, Your Honor." My voice sounds smaller than I intended. "I'm representing myself." Daniel's lawyer smirks. It's a tiny thing, barely a twitch at the corner of his mouth, but I see it. So does the judge. "Proceed with your statement," she says to me. I stand, and my legs feel like water. I didn't prepare a speech. I didn't think I'd need one. I thought foolishly, desperately, that Daniel would remember. That somewhere beneath the expensive suit and the new girlfriend and the penthouse apartment, there was still the man who used to make me coffee every morning and leave sticky notes on the bathroom mirror that said, "You're the reason I believe in tomorrow." "Your Honor," I begin, and my voice cracks. I clear my throat. I don't want his money. I don't want his apartment or his cars or any of it. I look directly at Daniel now, and he finally meets my gaze. I just want what's mine. His lawyer stands. "Your Honor, Mrs. Chen signed a postnuptial agreement 3 years ago, clearly stating, I'm aware of the postnuptial agreement." The judge interrupts, her tone sharp. "I've reviewed all submitted documents." She turns to me. "Mrs. Chen, you claim you're entitled to a portion of Apex Solutions. On what grounds?" This is it, the moment I've been dreading and anticipating in equal measure. I reach into my bag and pull out a single folder, its edges worn from how many times I've opened and closed it over the past month. Inside are documents I haven't looked at in years, papers I signed without thinking because I trusted the men I loved. On the grounds that I own 51% of it, I say quietly. The courtroom erupts. Daniel's lawyer shoots to his feet. Daniel himself goes pale, his composure finally cracking. The journalist in the back row leans forward, phone already out. The judge slams her gavel once, twice, 3 times. "Order," she commands. The room falls silent again, but the air feels different, now charged, electric, dangerous. Daniel's lawyer recovers first. "Your Honor, this is absurd. My client is the sole founder and CEO of Apex Solutions. Mrs. Chen has no ownership stake. She's never been listed as a shareholder, never attended a board meeting, never because I didn't want to be. I interrupt, surprising myself. I didn't want the spotlight. I didn't want the meetings or the press or any of it. I just wanted to fix what was broken. I open the folder and hold up the first document. This is the original LLC filing for Apex Solutions, dated March 15, 2021. You'll notice two names listed as founding members, Daniel Chen and Sarah Chen. Daniel's lawyer snatches the paper from my hand, his eyes scanning frantically. Daniel just stares at me like I've grown a second head. This doesn't prove ownership percentage, the lawyer sputters. It just shows she was involved in the initial filing, which is common for this does. I pull out another document, this one thicker, bound with a blue cover. The original operating agreement signed by both of us. Section 4.2 clearly states that I hold 51% of all membership interests, with Daniel holding 49%. We structured it that way because I was the one with the technical expertise. I was the one who built the product. Daniel handled business development. The judge extends her hand, and I pass her the document. The courtroom is so quiet I can hear the clock on the wall ticking, each second stretching into eternity. Daniel's face has gone from pale to red, a vein pulsing at his temple. "This is forgery," he says suddenly, his voice too loud. "I never signed that. I would never." "You did," I say softly. "We were in our apartment. It was raining. You made jokes about how official it all felt, signing our lives away in triplicate. You said," my voice catches, "you said you trusted me with everything." The judge is reading carefully, her expression unreadable. Daniel's lawyer is whispering urgently in his ear, but Daniel isn't listening. He's staring at me with something that might be recognition or might be hatred. "I can't tell anymore, Your Honor," the lawyer tries again. "Even if this document is legitimate, which we strongly dispute, it's been superseded by subsequent agreements. The post-nuptial agreement Mrs. Chen signed clearly states that I waive all claims to marital assets." I finish for him. "Yes, I signed that. But Apex Solutions isn't a marital asset. It's a business entity that existed before our marriage, and my ownership stake is separate from any marital property. The postnup doesn't affect my shares." I can see the moment the lawyer realizes I'm right. His face goes slack, and he sinks back into his chair. Daniel makes a sound like he's been punched. "This can't be happening," he whispers. "Sarah, you can't, you wouldn't." "I didn't want to," I say, "and I mean it. I came here today prepared to walk away with nothing. I was going to let you have it all because I thought maybe that would finally make you happy. But then you stood up in this courtroom and said I contributed nothing." My hands are shaking now, but my voice is steady. "You erased me. You erased 4 years of my life, every late night, every line of code, every time I believed in you when no one else did. So yes, Daniel, I would." "I am." The judge sets down the document and removes her glasses. She looks tired suddenly, like she's seen this story play out 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways. "Mr. Chen," she says, "did you sign this operating agreement?" Daniel opens his mouth, closes it. His lawyer puts a hand on his arm, but he shakes it off. "I don't remember," he finally says. "It was years ago. We signed so many documents back then it's notarized," the judge observes, "with your signature clearly visible. Unless you're claiming the notary was complicit in fraud, which would require substantial evidence, this document appears legitimate." She looks at me. "Mrs. Chen, do you have any other supporting documentation?" I pull out the rest of the folder's contents. Bank statements showing my initial capital investment. Emails between Daniel and early investors where he refers to me as his technical co-founder. Board meeting minutes from the first year where my ownership percentage is explicitly mentioned. I've kept everything, not because I planned for this moment, but because I'm the kind of person who keeps everything. It's a habit that drove Daniel crazy. He used to tease me about my filing cabinets, my labeled folders, my need to document and preserve. Now those habits might save me. The judge reviews each document in silence. The clock ticks. Someone in the gallery coughs. Daniel's lawyer is typing furiously on his laptop, probably searching for legal precedents, loopholes, anything to undo what's unfolding. But I can see in his face that he knows. This isn't something that can be undone with clever arguments or procedural tricks. This is fact. This is documentation. This is truth preserved in ink and paper and digital timestamps. Your Honor, Daniel says suddenly, his voice breaking, please. She's doing this to hurt me, to destroy everything I've built. Apex is worth $40 million. If she takes control, if I take control, I interrupt, nothing changes. I don't want to run your company, Daniel. I don't want your office or your title or your life. I take a breath. I just want you to admit that I was there, that I mattered, that what we built together. He looks at me then, really looks at me, and for a moment I see the man I married. The one who used to dance with me in our tiny kitchen. The one who cried when his father said he'd never amount to anything. The one who promised me that success would never change him. I can't, he whispers. If I admit that, if the board finds out I'm not the majority shareholder, they'll what? I ask. Realize you're human? That you needed help? That you didn't do it alone? He doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. I can see it in his eyes, the fear of being exposed, of losing the narrative he's crafted so carefully. Daniel Chen, self-made tech genius. Daniel Chen, visionary CEO. Daniel Chen, who pulled himself up by his bootstraps and built an empire from nothing. Except it wasn't nothing. It was me. The judge clears her throat. Based on the evidence presented, I'm prepared to make a preliminary ruling. However, given the complexity of this matter and the significant assets involved, I'm ordering a 30-day continuance. During that time, both parties will submit to discovery. Mr. Chen, your company's financial records, board minutes, and all documents related to ownership structure will be made available for review. Mrs. Chen, you'll do the same with any relevant materials in your possession. She looks between us. I suggest you both consider mediation. This doesn't have to be decided in a courtroom. Daniel's lawyer nods quickly. Your Honor, my client is absolutely willing to mediate. We believe a reasonable settlement can be. I don't want a settlement, I say. Everyone turns to look at me. I want what's legally mine. 51% of Apex Solutions. Not a payout. Not a settlement. My shares. The judge raises an eyebrow. Mrs. Chen, are you certain? A settlement might be more practical, given I'm certain. Daniel stands abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. You're going to destroy me, he says, and there's something raw in his voice now. Something desperate. Is that what you want? Revenge? No, I say quietly. I want you to remember who I am. The gavel comes down one final time. 30 days, the judge says. Court adjourned. As everyone files out, I remain seated, my hands folded in my lap. Daniel lingers near the door, his lawyer pulling at his sleeve, but he's looking back at me. Our eyes meet across the empty courtroom, and I wonder if he's thinking what I'm thinking. How did we get here? How did love turn into this? But I already know the answer. Love didn't turn into this. Love ended long before today. This is just the paperwork. I gather my folder, slip it back into my bag, and walk out into the hallway where sunlight streams through tall windows. The journalist approaches, but I wave her off. I'm not ready for that story yet. Maybe I never will be. Outside, the city moves on, indifferent to the small war that just played out in courtroom 4B. Cars honk. People rush past with coffee cups and briefcases. Somewhere in a high-rise downtown, Apex Solutions continues to operate, its employees unaware that the woman who wrote half their code base just reclaimed her throne. I pull out my phone and stare at the screen, unsure who to call. My mother would say I told you so. My best friend would offer wine and sympathy. But what I need isn't validation or comfort. What I need is to remember who I was before I became Daniel Chen's wife, before I disappeared into someone else's dream. I need to remember Sarah. So I start walking, no destination in mind, just moving through the city I once knew so well. And with each step, I feel something shifting inside me, not healing. Not yet. But something like the beginning of it. Something like the first breath after being underwater too long. Something like myself, coming back. The 30 days pass like a fever dream. I hire a lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia, who wears red lipstick like war paint and doesn't blink when I tell her I want everything documented. Every email, every line of code, every moment of my existence at Apex Solutions proven and preserved. She doesn't ask why I waited so long to fight back. She just nods and says, "Let's bury him in paperwork." Discovery is brutal. Daniel's legal team tries everything. They claim the operating agreement was signed under duress, that I manipulated him during a vulnerable time, that my contributions were minimal at best. They parade former employees into depositions, people who never saw me because I worked from home, who only knew Daniel as the face of the company. But Patricia is relentless. She finds the GitHub commits with my username, thousands of them, dating back to Apex's first month. She finds Slack messages where Daniel thanked me for saving the company again. She finds investor emails where he described me as the technical genius behind our success. Each piece of evidence feels like excavating my own grave, pulling up proof that I existed, that I mattered, that I wasn't just a ghost haunting the margins of someone else's story. I don't sleep much. I spend nights in my small apartment, the one I moved into after Daniel asked for the divorce, surrounded by printouts and highlighted documents. My cat Pixel watches me from the windowsill with judgmental green eyes. She's the only thing I took from our old life besides my clothes and my dignity. Daniel never liked her anyway. Said she shed too much, that she didn't match the aesthetic of his carefully curated life. On day 17, my mother calls. Sarah, she says, her voice tight with that particular blend of concern and disappointment she's perfected over the years. I heard from Linda Chen. She says you're trying to take Daniel's company. It's my company too, Mom. You're embarrassing yourself. And us. Do you know what people are saying? That you're bitter. That you can't accept the divorce. That I don't care what people are saying. Silence. Then, you used to care. You used to care so much about what people thought that you made yourself invisible just to make him comfortable. The truth of it hits like a slap. She's right. I spent 4 years shrinking, dimming my own light so Daniel could shine brighter. I told myself it was love, that partnerships meant sacrifice. But somewhere along the way, sacrifice became erasure. I'm not invisible anymore. I tell her. She sighs. No, I suppose you're not. We don't talk about it again. On day 23, I run into Daniel at a coffee shop 3 blocks from the courthouse. It's accidental. I'm picking up my usual order. He's walking in as I'm walking out. We nearly collide in the doorway. For a moment, we just stand there, close enough that I can smell his cologne, the same one he's worn since college. Sarah, he says, and his voice is different, tired, smaller. Daniel, people flow around us, annoyed by our blockage of the entrance. Someone mutters something about getting a room. Daniel's jaw tightens. Can we talk? He asks. Just for a minute, please. I should say no. Patricia would say no. Every instinct for self-preservation screams no, but I'm so tired of fighting. And he looks so much like the boy I fell in love with that I hear myself say. 5 minutes. We sit at a corner table, away from the windows. Daniel orders nothing. He just sits there, hands folded on the table, staring at them like they belong to someone else. I didn't mean it. He finally says, what I said in court, that you weren't entitled to anything. My lawyer told me to establish clear boundaries, to not show weakness, and he looks up, and his eyes are red-rimmed. I didn't mean it, but you said it. I know. In front of everyone, you looked at me and erased 4 years of my life like they never happened. I know. His voice cracks. Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. I don't know what happened to me. The company got big, and people started treating me differently, and I started believing my own press. I started thinking I really did do it all alone. He reaches across the table like he might take my hand, then thinks better of it. But I didn't. I know I didn't. You were there for everything. You are the reason Apex exists. I want to feel vindicated. I want his apology to fill the hollow space his betrayal carved out. But it doesn't. It just sits there between us, inadequate and too late. Why did you ask for the divorce? I ask. Really, not the bullshit about growing apart or needing space. Why? He's quiet for a long time. Outside, the city moves on. A bus hisses to a stop. Someone laughs too loudly. Life continues, indifferent to our small tragedy. Because you knew me. He finally says, the real me. The one who failed his first 2 startups. The one who had panic attacks before investor meetings. The one who's terrified every single day that someone will realize he's a fraud. He looks at me with something like desperation. Everyone else sees Daniel Chen, CEO. You saw Daniel Chen. Scared kid from Queens who got lucky. And I couldn't be that person anymore. I couldn't let you keep seeing through me. The confession hangs in the air between us. I understand it, even as it breaks my heart. He didn't leave me because he stopped loving me. He left because I loved him too well, saw him too clearly, and he couldn't bear being known. So you married someone who doesn't know you, I say quietly. He flinches. I'm not marrying Melissa. We broke up 2 weeks ago. This surprises me. Why? Because she's not you. He laughs, bitter and broken. Turns out I don't actually want someone who only loves a successful version of me. He stops. It doesn't matter what I want. I burn that bridge. My coffee has gone cold. I wrap my hands around the cup anyway, needing something to hold on to. I'm not dropping the case. I tell him, I can't. Even if I wanted to, I can't go back to being invisible. I know. He nods slowly. Patricia's good. She's going to win. The evidence is it's all there. Everything you did. Everything you built. I can't fight it. He meets my eyes. I don't want to fight it. You deserve those shares. You always did. Then why did your lawyer file a motion to dismiss last week? Because I'm a coward. The admission comes out flat. Matter of fact. Because admitting you own 51% means admitting I'm not the sole genius founder. It means my board will question everything. It means he stops, shakes his head. It means telling the truth. And I've gotten really good at avoiding that. I should feel angry. I should feel triumphant. Instead, I just feel sad for both of us. For what we were and what we became. I need to go, I say, standing. My 5 minutes are up, Sarah. He stands too. Desperate now. I know I don't deserve it. But can we try again? After all this is settled, can we know the word comes out harder than I intended? But I don't soften it. Because the truth is, even if he's sorry, even if he means every word, I can't go back to being someone's hidden foundation. I can't be the ghost in the machine anymore. I loved you. I tell him, I loved you so much I forgot to love myself. And I can't do that again. Not for you. Not for anyone. He nods, and there are tears on his face now. Silent and devastating. I understand. I leave him there, sitting alone at a corner table in a coffee shop where we used to meet every Sunday morning, back when we were young and broke and believed we could conquer the world together. That version of us is gone. Maybe it's been gone for years, and we were just too stubborn or too scared to admit it. Outside, the November air is sharp and clean. I breathe it in. Let it fill my lungs. Let it remind me that I'm still here, still standing, still fighting. Patricia calls that evening. They want to settle, she says without preamble. 20 million cash. You walk away, sign an NDA, and Daniel retains full control of the company. No, Sarah, 20 million is I don't want his money. I want my shares. She's quiet for a moment. Then? Okay. Then we go to trial. But you need to understand what that means. It means months of litigation. It means every detail of your marriage, your work, your life gets dissected in public. It means Daniel's team will try to destroy your credibility, your character, everything. Are you prepared for that? I think about the girl I was 4 years ago, the one who quit her job without hesitation because the man she loved needed her. I think about the woman I became, invisible and silent, content to let someone else take credit for her work. And I think about who I'm becoming now, someone who refuses to disappear. Yes, I tell Patricia, I'm prepared. The trial is set for January. Christmas comes and goes. I spend it alone, which feels appropriate. My mother invites me to her house, but I decline. I can't sit through dinner with relatives who will ask about the divorce in hushed, pitying tones, who will wonder why I'm fighting instead of just moving on like a reasonable woman should. Patricia sends me a gift basket with a note that says, "For warriors." It contains expensive chocolate, a bottle of wine, and a book about women who changed history. I eat the chocolate and save the wine for after the trial. January arrives cold and unforgiving. The trial is scheduled for the 15th, a Tuesday that dawns gray and bitter. I dress carefully, a black suit, simple jewelry, my hair pulled back. I look like someone who means business. I look like someone who won't disappear. The courtroom is more crowded this time. Word has gotten out. Tech journalists line the back row. I recognize a few faces from industry events. People who used to smile at me when I stood beside Daniel, who looked through me like glass once I was just his wife. Now they're here to watch the spectacle, to see if the invisible woman can prove she existed. Daniel sits at his table, flanked by 3 lawyers now instead of 1. He's lost weight. There are shadows under his eyes that makeup can't quite hide. When our eyes meet, he looks away quickly, like I'm something that hurts to see. The judge enters, the same woman from before, silver hair still severe, expression still unreadable. She settles into her seat and surveys the courtroom with the weary patience of someone who's seen every variation of human greed and heartbreak. We're here to determine ownership structure of Apex Solutions, she begins. Mrs. Chen claims 51% based on the original operating agreement. Mr. Chen disputes this claim. Let's proceed. Daniel's lead counsel stands. His name is Marcus Webb, and he's exactly the kind of lawyer you hire when you have $40 million to protect expensive suit, perfect teeth, voice like aged whiskey. Your Honor, we've prepared extensive testimony demonstrating that while Mrs. Chen may have provided some technical assistance in Apex's early days, she was never a true co-founder. The operating agreement she's presented was signed during a period when my client was under extreme financial and emotional stress. He was not in a position to fully understand what he was signing. Patricia rises smoothly. Your Honor, Mr. Chen was a 32-year-old MBA graduate with 5 years of startup experience. The notion that he didn't understand a basic operating agreement strains credulity. We'll let the evidence speak, the judge says. Mr. Webb, call your first witness. They start with former employees. A product manager who swears he only ever dealt with Daniel. A marketing director who says she never even knew Daniel was married. An early investor who testifies that Daniel pitched the company alone, that there was never any mention of a technical co-founder. Patricia cross-examines each one with surgical precision. Did you work directly with the codebase? No. Did you attend technical planning meetings? No. Were you aware that Mrs. Chen worked primarily from home? Reluctant, yes. So you wouldn't have seen her even if she was doing the majority of technical work. Silence. The investor cracks first. Under Patricia's questioning, he admits that Daniel did mention a technical partner in early conversations. But he said it was temporary. The investor adds quickly, just someone helping him get started. Did he use a name? Patricia asks. I think he said Sarah, his wife. So he did mention her. Yes. But thank you. No further questions. They break for lunch. I eat nothing. Just sit in a small conference room drinking water and trying to calm my racing heart. Patricia reviews notes, occasionally muttering to herself. They're flailing, she says without looking up. Webb knows he's losing. He'll try something dramatic this afternoon. She's right. When we reconvene, Webb calls Daniel to the stand. Daniel takes the oath with a steady hand, but I can see the tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw clenches. He's terrified. Good. He should be. Webb walks him through the founding of Apex, the initial idea, the first investors, the early struggles. Daniel tells it well, like he's told it 100 times before. The self-made entrepreneur narrative, polished and perfect. He mentions me only in passing, as my wife, who was supportive during a difficult time. Then Patricia stands for cross-examination, and the air in the courtroom changes. Mr. Chen, she begins, her voice deceptively gentle. You testified that you founded Apex Solutions alone. Is that correct? Yes. And you wrote the initial code yourself? A pause. I had help with some of the technical aspects. From whom? From Sarah, my wife, Mrs. Chen. And what kind of help did she provide? She helped debug some early issues, provided feedback on the architecture. Patricia walks to her table and picks up a thick binder. Your Honor, I'd like to enter into evidence exhibit a complete record of GitHub commits for Apex Solutions' first 2 years of operation. She hands copies to the judge and to Webb. Mr. Chen, can you tell me how many commits are attributed to your username during this period? Daniel's face goes pale. I don't remember the exact number. 843, Patricia says. And how many are attributed to the username Sarah Dev? Silence. Mr. Chen, I don't know. 4,712. Patricia lets that number hang in the air. In fact, Mrs. Chen's commits represent 84% of all code written during Apex's critical first 2 years. Does that sound like some help with technical aspects? She was better at coding than me, Daniel says, and there's something desperate in his voice now. I focused on business development. That was our division of labor. So you were partners? We were married. That's not what I asked. Were you partners in building Apex Solutions? Daniel looks at his lawyers. Webb is scribbling notes furiously, but he doesn't object. There's nothing to object to. It's just the truth, finally being spoken out loud. Yes, Daniel says quietly. We were partners. The courtroom erupts in whispers. The journalists in the back row are typing frantically. The judge calls for order, but she's watching Daniel with something that might be sympathy or might be contempt. Patricia isn't done. Mr. Chen, I'm going to read you an email you sent to your board of directors in June 2022. Quote, I want to thank my wife Sarah for her continued dedication to Apex. Without her technical genius, we wouldn't have a product to sell. She's the backbone of this company. End quote. Do you remember writing that? Yes. Was it true? Yes. And yet in your divorce proceedings, you testified that she contributed nothing to the household income and had no claim to your assets. Which statement was true, Mr. Chen? The one you made to your board, or the one you made under oath? Daniel's hands are shaking. I can see it from where I sit. The way his fingers grip the edge of the witness stand like it's the only thing keeping him upright. I was angry, he says, about the divorce. I said things I didn't mean. So you lied under oath? I know. Mr. Chen. Did you or did you not sign an operating agreement giving Mrs. Chen 51% of Apex Solutions? The courtroom is silent. Everyone leans forward. This is the moment everything hinges on, not the code commits or the emails or the testimony, but this simple yes or no question. Daniel closes his eyes. When he opens them, he's looking directly at me. Yes, he says. I signed it. The whispers become a roar. The judge slams her gavel repeatedly. Webb is on his feet, objecting to something. But it doesn't matter. The truth is out. Spoken in Daniel's own voice, and there's no taking it back. Patricia sits down, satisfied. No further questions, Your Honor. The judge calls a recess. In the hallway, Patricia grips my arm. We won, she says. He admitted it. On the stand. It's over. But it doesn't feel over. It feels like something is breaking open. Like a wound that's been festering for years finally being lanced. I lean against the wall, trying to breathe, trying to process what just happened. Daniel emerges from the courtroom surrounded by his legal team. They're arguing in hushed, urgent tones. He breaks away from them and walks toward me. His lawyers try to stop him, but he shakes them off. Sarah, he says, and his voice is raw. I'm sorry. For all of it. For everything. I look at him, really look at him, and I see someone I don't recognize anymore. Or maybe I see him clearly for the first time. Not the brilliant CEO or the charming entrepreneur. Just a man who was so afraid of being ordinary that he tried to erase the person who made him extraordinary. I know. I tell him, but it doesn't change anything. I know. He nods, defeated. I just needed you to hear it. One more time. I'm sorry. He walks away, and I watch him go. This man I loved. This man who broke me. This man who I'm finally letting go of. When we reconvene, the judge delivers her ruling. Based on the evidence presented and Mr. Chen's testimony, I find that the operating agreement dated March 15, 2021 is valid and binding. Mrs. Sarah Chen is the majority shareholder of Apex Solutions, holding 51% of all membership interests. She looks at both of us. I'm ordering an immediate transfer of shares and full disclosure of all company financials to Mrs. Chen. Mr. Chen will retain his position as CEO, subject to board approval, but Mrs. Chen has the right to attend all board meetings and vote on all major company decisions. She pauses, and her expression softens slightly. I've presided over many divorce cases involving business assets. This is the first time I've seen someone fight not for money, but for recognition. Mrs. Chen, I hope you get what you're looking for. The gavel comes down one final time. Outside, the January cold bites at my face. Reporters swarm, shouting questions. Patricia handles them with practiced ease while I stand there, numb and overwhelmed. I won. I actually won. My phone buzzes. It's a text from a number I don't recognize. Congratulations. You earned it. Daniel, I deleted without responding. That night, alone in my apartment with Pixel purring on my lap, I finally opened Patricia's bottle of wine. I pour a glass and toast to the empty room, to the ghost of who I used to be, to the woman I'm becoming. I don't feel triumphant. I don't feel vindicated. I just feel tired and sad and strangely free. Tomorrow, I'll attend my first board meeting as majority shareholder. Tomorrow, I'll start figuring out what it means to own 51% of a company I helped build but never claimed. Tomorrow, I'll begin the work of being visible again. But tonight, I just sit in the quiet, drinking wine and remembering what it feels like to exist. The board meeting is scheduled for 9 a.m. on a Thursday. I arrive 15 minutes early, wearing the same black suit from the trial. Patricia offered to come with me, but I declined. This is something I need to do alone. The Apex Solutions headquarters occupies 3 floors of a glass tower in the financial district. I haven't been here in over a year, not since Daniel moved the company out of our apartment and into this gleaming monument to success. The lobby is all marble and chrome, with the Apex logo, a stylized mountain peak etched into the wall behind the reception desk. The receptionist doesn't recognize me. "Can I help you?" she asks, her smile professional and distant. "I'm here for the board meeting." Sarah Chen, her smile falters. "I don't have you on the list, check again." She types something, her expression shifting from confusion to shock. "Oh, Mrs. Chen, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize." She fumbles with a visitor badge. 23rd floor. The conference room is straight back. I take the badge and head to the elevator. My reflection in the mirrored walls shows a woman who looks calm, composed, in control. Inside, my heart is hammering. The 23rd floor is quiet, carpeted in deep gray. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer views of the city sprawling below. I can see the courthouse from here, a small building dwarfed by skyscrapers. It feels like a lifetime ago that I stood there, fighting for the right to be in this building. The conference room is at the end of the hall. Through the glass walls, I can see them already assembled 7 board members, plus Daniel at the head of the table. They're talking, laughing about something. Daniel sees me first. The laughter dies. I open the door and step inside. "Good morning," I say. My voice doesn't shake. Small victory. The board members stare. I recognize most of them from photos: venture capitalists, industry veterans, people who've built and sold companies worth billions. They're all men except for one woman, Margaret Reeves, who ran operations at Google before retiring. She's the only one who stands. "Mrs. Chen," she says, extending her hand. "Welcome. We've been looking forward to meeting you." The others rise reluctantly. Handshakes are exchanged. Names I already know are repeated. Daniel remains seated, watching me with an expression I can't read. "Please sit," Margaret says, gesturing to an empty chair. It's at the opposite end of the table from Daniel, which feels appropriate. We're as far apart as we can be while still being in the same room. I sit. Someone, an assistant I didn't notice, brings me water. The glass is crystal, expensive. Everything here is expensive. "Let's begin," Margaret says. She's apparently running this meeting, which makes sense. As the only independent board member not beholden to Daniel or the VCs, she's the logical choice for neutral ground. We have several items on the agenda, but first, I think we should address the elephant in the room. She looks at me. "Mrs. Chen, you now hold 51% of Apex Solutions. That makes you the majority shareholder and, technically, the person with final say on all major company decisions. Do you intend to exercise that authority?" 7 pairs of eyes fix on me. This is the question they're all wondering. The reason the tension in this room is thick enough to cut. Are you here to destroy what we've built? Are you here for revenge? That depends. I say carefully. I built this company alongside Daniel. I know what it takes to make it work. I'm not here to dismantle anything. I pause. But I'm also not here to be invisible anymore. I want a seat at this table. I want my contributions acknowledged. And I want to ensure that Apex continues to succeed, not just for Daniel, but for everyone who's invested their time and talent into it. One of the VCs, a man named Richard with silver hair and a Rolex that probably costs more than my car, leans forward. "With all due respect, Mrs. Chen, you haven't been involved in the company's operations for over a year. The tech landscape has changed. We've pivoted our product strategy, expanded into new markets. Are you prepared to catch up on all of that? I wrote 84% of the original codebase, I reply evenly. I understand the architecture better than anyone in this room, including Daniel. As for the business side, I'm a fast learner. I always have been. She is, Daniel says suddenly. Everyone turns to look at him. Sarah's the smartest person I know. If she says she can catch up, she can. The admission hangs in the air. It's the first time he's said something like that in public, without a lawyer prompting him, without a judge forcing him. Just the truth, spoken plainly. Margaret nods slowly. Then I propose we bring Mrs. Chen up to speed over the next month. Full access to all company documents, financials, strategic plans. She'll attend all board meetings and have voting rights on all major decisions. Does anyone object? Silence. Richard looks like he wants to object, but he's smart enough to know that fighting the majority shareholder is a losing battle. Good, Margaret says. Now, let's move on to Q4 results. The meeting proceeds. They discuss revenue projections, user growth, a potential acquisition of a smaller competitor. I listen carefully, taking notes, asking questions when something isn't clear. The board members warm to me gradually, especially when I point out a flaw in their expansion strategy that could save them millions. You're right, one of them admits grudgingly. We hadn't considered that angle. Daniel says little. He presents when necessary, answers questions, but mostly he just watches me. I can feel his gaze even when I'm not looking at him, heavy and complicated. The meeting runs long, stretching past noon. When it finally ends, the board members file out, some nodding to me, others still wary. Margaret lingers. That went well, she says. Better than I expected, honestly. Richard was prepared to fight you on everything. Why didn't he? Because you know what you're talking about. And because Daniel didn't back him up. She glances toward the door where Daniel disappeared. He could have made this much harder for you. He chose not to. That doesn't make us even. No. Margaret agrees. But it's something. She gathers her things. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're here. This company needed someone to shake things up. It was becoming too much about Daniel's ego and not enough about the product. After she leaves, I sit alone in the conference room, looking out at the city. From this height, everything seems small and manageable. Problems that feel insurmountable from the ground become mere details in a larger pattern. My phone buzzes. A text from Patricia. How did it go? Better than expected, I type back. They didn't throw me out. That's the spirit. Dinner tonight to celebrate? Rain check. I'm exhausted. I gather my notes and head for the elevator. As the doors are closing, a hand shoots through, stopping them. Daniel, can we talk? He asks. Just for a minute. I consider saying no, but we're going to have to talk eventually. We're business partners now, whether we like it or not. 1 minute, I say. He steps into the elevator, and the doors close. We're alone in this small metal box, rising through the building we built together. The silence is suffocating. You were good in there, he finally says. The board was impressed. I don't need their approval. I know, but it helps. He runs a hand through his hair, a nervous gesture I remember from 1,000 late nights spent debugging code. Sarah, I meant what I said about you being the smartest person I know. I should have said it more. I should have said it to everyone. Yes, you should have. The elevator reaches the lobby. The doors open, but neither of us moves. I don't expect forgiveness, Daniel continues. I don't even deserve it. But I want you to know I'm glad you fought. I'm glad you won. This company is as much yours as it is mine. It always was. I step out of the elevator, then turn back to look at him. I didn't fight for the company, Daniel. I fought for myself. For the right to exist without needing your permission or your acknowledgement. The company was just proof. I know, he says quietly, and I'm sorry it took a courtroom to make me see that. The elevator doors start to close. I let them. I walk out of the building into the afternoon sunlight. And for the first time in years, I feel like I'm walking towards something instead of away from it. That evening, I sit in my apartment with my laptop open, reviewing the documents Margaret sent over. Financial statements, product roadmaps, employee surveys. I absorb it all, piece by piece, rebuilding my understanding of what Apex has become. Pixel jumps onto my lap, purring. I scratch behind her ears absently, my eyes scanning spreadsheets. There's a problem in the Q3 numbers. Something that doesn't quite add up. I make a note to ask about it at the next meeting. My phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but curiosity wins. Hello, Mrs. Chen? This is Jennifer Park from TechCrunch. I'm writing a piece about the trial and your role in founding Apex Solutions. Would you be willing to comment? I should say no. Patricia would tell me to say no, but I'm tired of being silent. Yes. I tell her. I'll comment. We talk for an hour. I tell her everything, how I built the original product, how I worked 18-hour days while Daniel charmed investors, how I made myself invisible because I thought that's what love required. I tell her about the divorce, the trial, the moment Daniel admitted the truth on the stand. What do you want people to know? Jennifer asks at the end. I think about that. What do I want people to know? That you can't erase someone just because it's convenient. I finally say that the work speaks for itself, even when the person doing it doesn't, and that it's never too late to fight for yourself. The article runs 3 days later. The headline reads, "The Invisible Founder: How Sarah Chen Built Apex Solutions and Then Had to Prove It in Court." It goes viral. My phone explodes with messages. Former colleagues from Meridian Tech reaching out. Women in tech thanking me for speaking up. Job offers from companies who want someone with my skills and my story. Even my mother calls, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm proud of you," she says. I should have said that sooner. Daniel texts. I read the article. "You told the truth. Thank you for that." I don't respond. There's nothing left to say to him. Instead, I focus on Apex. I attend meetings, review code, make suggestions that improve efficiency and cut costs. The engineers are shocked to discover I can keep up with them, that I understand the codebase better than most of them do. Slowly, I stop being Daniel's ex-wife and start being Sarah, the co-founder. It feels like coming home to a place I never knew I'd left. "Because you shouldn't have needed proof," he says simply. "You should never have needed to prove anything. And I'm sorry that you did." It's not the first time he's apologized, but it's the first time I feel he truly understands what he did, not just a legal betrayal, not just a divorce, but the deeper wound of making someone invisible. "Thank you," I say, closing my hand around the pen drive. "For this, and for finally seeing me." He nods and stands to leave. At the door, he pauses. "For what it's worth, Sarah, you're a better CEO than I ever was. The company is lucky to have you. It always was," I reply. Not cruel, just honest. He smiles sadly and leaves. That night, I plug in the old pen drive. The files are exactly as I remember: messy, brilliant, full of comments I wrote to myself at 3 in the morning. This is ugly, but it works. Todo. Refactor when brain is functional. Daniel, if you're reading this, the bug is in line to 147, not 189. I was so young then. So sure that love and partnership were the same thing. So willing to disappear if it meant someone else could shine. I'm not that person anymore. The next board meeting, I present a 5-year plan. Aggressive expansion, strategic hires, a complete overhaul of our product line. It's ambitious. It's risky. It's exactly what Apex needs. This will require significant capital, Richard points out. I know. That's why I've already secured commitments from 3 new investors. They're betting on me, not just a company. Margaret smiles. Motion to approve. Seconded, says another board member. The vote is unanimous. As we file out, one of the younger board members, a woman who joined last month, approaches me. "Mrs. Chen, I just wanted to say thank you. My daughter is studying computer science. When I told her about you, about what you did, she said it made her feel like she could do anything. Something tightens in my chest. Tell her she can. And tell her she doesn't have to make herself small for anyone." I will. Summer arrives, warm and bright. I move out of my small apartment into a loft downtown, not as big as Daniel's, but mine. All mine. I fill it with things I love. Books, plants, a ridiculous velvet couch that Pixel immediately claims as her throne. I hang the Forbes cover on the wall, not out of ego, but as a reminder. You existed. You always existed. One Saturday morning, I'm at a coffee shop, not the one where Daniel and I used to meet, a different one, when a young woman approaches my table. "Excuse me," she says nervously. "Are you Sarah Chen?" "Yes. I read about you, about the trial and everything. She's clutching a laptop covered in coding stickers. I'm a developer. I've been working at this startup for 2 years, doing most of the technical work, but my co-founder takes all the credit. Everyone thinks he's the genius. She stops, tears welling up. I'm just a girl who helps. I gesture to the empty chair. Sit. She does. What's your name? Maya. Maya. Do you have documentation? Emails? Code commits? Anything that proves your work? Yes. But then you have power. You just have to decide to use it. But what if I lose? What if everyone thinks I'm just bitter or jealous, or they will think that? I tell her honestly, some of them will always think that. But the truth doesn't care what people think. The truth just is. And if you have documentation, you have truth. She nods slowly, wiping her eyes. Were you scared during the trial? Terrified. Every single day. But you did it anyway. I did it anyway. She leaves with my card and a promise to call if she needs help. I watch her go, this young woman carrying the weight of invisible labor, and I hope she finds her voice sooner than I found mine. The seasons turn. Apex continues to grow. Daniel and I maintain our professional distance, our careful partnership. We're good at it now. The dance of working together without touching the past. Sometimes I catch him watching me during meetings, and I wonder what he's thinking. If he regrets what he lost. If he understands that you can't unbreak something, you can only build something new from the pieces. In October, I'm invited to speak at a tech conference in Austin. The keynote address, 2,000 people in the audience. The title of my talk, The Cost of Invisibility. I stand on that stage, looking out at a sea of faces, and I tell my story. Not for sympathy, not for validation, but because somewhere in that audience might be another Maya, another woman making herself small, another person who needs to hear that their work matters even when no one sees it. I spent 4 years invisible, I say into the microphone. I told myself it was love. I told myself it was partnership. But it was fear. Fear of being too much, of taking up too much space, of outshining the person I loved. I pause. And the cost of that fear was myself. The audience is silent. But here's what I learned. You can't make someone love you by disappearing. You can only make yourself disappear. And once you're gone, it's incredibly hard to come back. I smile. But not impossible. Never impossible. The applause is thunderous. Afterward, dozens of people line up to talk to me. They share their stories, the credit stolen, the work erased, the quiet erasure that happens when you love someone more than you love yourself. I listen to each one. I give advice when I can. Mostly, I just witness. I see them. That night, alone in my hotel room, I open my laptop and start writing. Not code this time. Words. My story. From beginning to end. The girl who fell in love. The woman who disappeared. The fighter who came back. I don't know if I'll ever publish it. Maybe it's just for me. This act of documentation, of proving to myself that I existed through all of it. Or maybe it's for the next person who needs to know, you can come back. You can fight. You can win. December arrives. Cold and clear. 1 year since the divorce was finalized. 1 year since I stood in a courtroom and fought for my right to exist. I'm in my office when Margaret calls. Sarah, I have news. The board wants to restructure. They want you as sole CEO. Daniel would move to chairman of the board. My heart stops. What does Daniel say? He proposed it. I sit down slowly. Why? He says you're the better leader, that the company needs your vision, not his ego. Margaret pauses. He's not wrong. I need to think about it. Take your time. But Sarah, you've earned this. Not because of the trial or the shares or any of it. You've earned it because you're brilliant, and you care about this company in a way that goes beyond profit margins. That evening, I walk through the city as snow begins to fall. I think about the girl I was, the woman I became, the person I'm still becoming. I think about Daniel, about forgiveness, about whether you can ever truly separate the past from the present. My phone buzzes. A text from Daniel. Margaret told you. I meant what I said. This should have been yours from the beginning. Better late than never? I stare at the message for a long time. Then I type, thank you for finally letting go. His response comes immediately. Thank you for never giving up. I accept the position. Sole CEO of Apex Solutions. The company I built, lost, and fought to reclaim. The press release goes out on a Monday morning. My photo, my name, my title, no longer invisible, no longer erased. That night, I stand in my loft with a glass of wine, pixel purring at my feet, and I look out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, someone is making themselves small for someone else's dream. Somewhere out there, someone is disappearing. But maybe, just maybe, they'll hear my story. They'll see what's possible. They'll learn that you can fight your way back from erasure. And they'll remember, the work speaks for itself, even when you can't. I raise my glass to the window, to the city, to the woman I was and the woman I've become. Here's to being visible, I whisper. The snow falls softly outside, covering everything in white, making the world new again. And I am here, present, seen. Finally, irrevocably, undeniably seen.